Hello book lovers, I'm Kiki and welcome back to my little corner on the internet. I have a confession to make. I have a shelf control problem. Big surprise. No, but seriously, I went on a little bit of a buying spree last month, which I gave myself permission to because I knew that at some point the charity event would be happening. I didn't know it would be happening in October. It was a bit of a surprise, but I bought a bunch of books, especially in the last week-ish, and now my TBR, my physical TBR, is back up, and I am feeling anxious about it, so we're doing something about it. I currently have 291 books on my physical TBR. That includes the 2 books that I am currently reading, and I had that down to almost 270, I think, and then I decided to go buy books. So I need to hold myself accountable because I need to actually read the books on my physical TBR. I want to get that number down. I want to say to 0, but I think then I would be anxious about the fact that I don't have more books to read. So I think I want to get it down to like 10 or 20 books because that is about what I read in a month if I have a good reading month. Sometimes I feel slumpy, I don't read much, that happens, it's okay. But basically I wanted to try to get that number down to 250 or less before the end of the year. Not sure if that's happening now with, having bought more books, but I will still try my best. I will have to do several things here, and I will be taking inspiration from videos I've seen over the past few years. Like, for example, I will give myself a little jar where I put like €1 for every book that I read of my physical TBR and like 50 cents for each book that I've read off of my Kindle, because I've been using this bad boy to try to not buy too many books because there are books on Kindle Unlimited that I really want to read. I just don't feel like I want to buy the books physically right now because that would just make this more. And I oftentimes haven't necessarily read books by the author yet. So sometimes I'm a bit hesitant to buy books by an author that I don't know if I will love. And so Kindle will also be a help in not buying more books because I am on a book buying ban. I will be having a little jar where I put money in for each book that I have read, and I will try to only buy books with the money that I have put aside from reading my physical TBR, because that will limit me in how many books I can actually buy because there's only so much reading I can do a month, which will probably limit my spending, my book spending to about a book a month, which would help immensely. So instead of, buying 12 books in one go, I can only buy 12 books a year. With the rate I'm reading at right now, I should have this TBR down in about 3 years. So that would be fun, unless I end up DNFing a lot of books, which is a possibility. And which I need to start doing because there are books there that I know I will not love. And I will need to actually get myself to DNF those books and not force myself to read them and then get slumpy and not be able to read the books that I want to read and will enjoy. So I don't know why my brain does not let me DNF books. I've become better at it because I have realized that my time is too precious. I have too many books I want to read. I have too many books that I own that I want to read to get stuck on books that I do not enjoy. So, on that note, if you see me DNF a book that you love, I am sorry. But unfortunately, not every book can be for everyone. And if you really, really love it, do let me know and I might give it a second chance. Especially if you have a good reason for loving it. And it's not just vibes, because vibes are different for everybody. Some of the books that I love the most, I've heard people say that they did not love them at all, and that's fair. Honestly, I just need to start doing this. This video is mainly going to be me reading books that I currently have the audiobook for on Libby. Because one thing to know about me is that I love me a good audiobook. And I tend to read a lot of books in different formats at the same time. Like, I have the audiobook, sometimes I have the audiobook, the ebook, and the physical copy. We do not talk about it. And then I switch between them, or I sit down with either the physical copy or the e-copy of it and listen to the audiobook while reading along, because that makes me read a million times faster and also lets me enjoy the story more. That is something that I've come to realize, and I love audiobooks for that. So, I currently have about 7 or 8 books on Libby as an audiobook, and some of them are just going to be me. Like, one of them, for example, is If We Ever Meet Again by Anna Huang, which is just a pure audiobook for me. I just wanted to check it out, honestly, and it came in, so I'm gonna listen to it. But I have a few books on Libby that are actually on my November TBR, so that would also give me a head start on that. So we are actually going to start that, and I think I sort of have 2 options here, because I have my reread of The Stolen Heir by Holly Black that I want to do before reading The Prisoner's Throne. And I have A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Hawley, and not sure what exactly to start with. I will probably end up reading both of them at the same time, because that is what I do. I think right now, because I have a little bit of time to sit down and read, I'm going to start with A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch, because quite frankly, this is probably going to be almost exclusively an audio reread, because I can, and I love these books. I love Alfheim, and I can just do something stupid while listening to this and enjoy whatever stupid thing I'm doing. So, I'm gonna start with this, and hopefully this is going to be a series that is going to hold me accountable. I'm probably gonna call it something along the lines of the TBR Takedown Chronicles or something like that. I actually just finished a book, which is Inkheart by Cornelia Funke, which I've been trying to read for a while. 2-ish weeks, probably, maybe 3. And I'm so happy that I finally finished it. Technically, this is the first victim of the TBR Takedown, because I've been thinking about doing this for a while, and I really wanted to finish this. So, first book down, and now, that's why I'm officially at 291, because that was book number 292 that I didn't finish yesterday. And yeah, I am excited to get this started, and hopefully you'll join me on this journey and maybe give me some motivation and hold me accountable. Because trust me, I need it. Let's get going. Okay, let's get started. It is November 1st, 2024. This is also just for myself to remember, so that I can maybe check in again in about a year and see how far I've gotten. I'm a little competitive, so I said it would take me 3 years, so now I really want to get this done in like a year or 2. Just almost impossible. But again, that's my brain for you. So, I am going to start reading A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch. Also, just because I remembered just now, I have quite a few books in German. So some of these might end up being me just speaking in German, because if I read a book in German, and I know it has not, like, it is originally German and it has not been translated into English, I'd feel sort of bad to try to get English, like non-German speakers to read it, because they can't. So I might do some of these in German. I might have like specific reading vlogs for my German books. We will see. But actually, let me freaking pull up Libby. Pop in my headphones. And let's get reading. I'm so excited for this, actually. Wait. Because I'm gonna... my goodness, I cannot wait to get back into this story. Yes. For all the angry girls who were told they were too much. Okay, let's get going. I just finished the first 2 chapters of A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch, and I can already tell that this is going to be so much fun. I wasn't sure about Astaroth when we met him in A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. I knew I loved Caladia. I am interested in knowing what the hell is going on in the demon plane, and I hope we sort of get to see some of that in this book. It seems like there are some mysteries to be uncovered. And just the first two chapters already, I know I'm gonna love both characters. It's gonna be so much fun to like see what's happening. And I'm guessing we're gonna get glimpses of the others as well, which is gonna be so much fun. But yeah, I'm gonna prepare lunch and continue listening to the audiobook. But this is a great start. Honestly, I'm so happy I picked this one up. It's gonna be great. Just a quick update. Sorry for any noise in the background, but the Swifties and Taylor Swift was just mentioned, so I have been summoned, already loving it. Okay, so this worked wonderfully, actually. I just finished A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Hawley, and this was so close to being a 5-star, because, again, vibes, right? My 5 stars are purely based on vibes and how I feel. And the fact that I sat down and binged this whole thing in one go, I only stopped when I was eating lunch with my family. But apart from that, I was either reading it or just listening to it while doing something else. Like, I was listening to it while finally starting on my Notion setup for my library. And I was just enjoying myself. But it just wasn't quite it, if that makes sense. I don't know, in between, it felt a little rushed at times, which I wasn't minding, like, at all. I do sort of like a quicker paced book. But I also don't hate, like, insta-love. It felt a little insta-lovey. Not quite. It's this weird thing of enemies to lovers with, like, yes, they were enemies, but they became enamored with each other so quickly. Again, don't hate that. But it felt like the book just ended super abruptly. And honestly, I feel like I would have preferred, even if it was just like an epilogue sort of thing, 2 weeks later or something. I was reading and like technically there was still like pages left, but it's because it was the acknowledgements and an excerpt of the third one. Mind you, these are interconnected standalones where if you want the full experience, you should read them in order because they're set up. This was set up in the first book. And things I mentioned here that you wouldn't understand if you hadn't read A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. But you could probably read this without reading that. But then I wouldn't recommend reading that after that because spoilers. And so because these were 2 different couples, I don't think that we will get much in the third book in terms of sort of finishing out the storyline of A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch, and I need more, if that makes sense. So it's a 4.75 stars. Also, because I just remembered, I accidentally forgot to scan 2 of the books that I bought at the charity run thing. So I now have still 292 books on my physical TBR despite having finished one, because I forgot to scan 2, and if I don't scan them, I don't know how many books I have. So that's on me. My bad. We'll figure something out. Okay, so last night I started The Whispering Dark, and I got about 45 pages in, and I'm really unsure about this one. We will see. I'm going to give it another 50 pages, and if by then I do not like it, which would be about chapter 14, if I don't like it by then, I think I will have to DNF, because probably soft DNF, I'm not vibing with this right now. To the point that instead of continuing with The Whispering Dark, I started The Scarlet Letter. It's a classic. You know it's a classic because there was like a 40-page introductory thing to it. But I never thought I would willingly start a classic to avoid reading another book. So there we are. I'm about to start The Scarlet Letter because I only got through the introduction last night. And I'm going to continue with The Whispering Dark for a little bit and then see how I like it, if I like it. If I realize by chapter 14 that I do not like this book at all, I will DNF it. If I am unsure about it because I'm just not vibing with it right now, I will soft DNF it, and I am going to make a whole soft DNF shelf with books that are just not the vibe right now. Okay, so I have continued with The Whispering Dark. I am now a third through, which is where part 2 starts. And I am so unsure as to what to do because now I am intrigued. Like, I want to know what is happening because it is not explained at all. Like, we are understanding so little, which is annoying me so much. I could not tell you what this book is about, except for that our main character, or at least one of our main characters, is a deaf girl that gets accepted to this university or department on scholarship that deals with the occult, basically. And that she seems to have like a special power or something. This is just, yeah, I'm unsure. I might continue with it for a little while longer. Okay, so the parts are almost exactly like split into 3. That was a spoiler. Okay. I'm probably gonna audiobook most of this, honestly, because sitting down to read this is a chore. But it has intrigued me enough to not want to DNF it and to know what happens. Like with certain books, I can just be like, I don't care. I don't even want to know what happens next, right? Not with this. I do actually want to know what happens. Okay, so I just finished The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew, and the book itself, I am going to give it 2.5 stars. So at the end of the audiobook, there is a little bit of almost like an explanation by the author about how she came about like writing it, how the writing process was, and what the story is about, and its own voices. The author lost her hearing, I think when she was 4, something around that, And that very much played into this book, and that made me feel much more connected to the book than I was before. But the book itself, I still didn't, I didn't really enjoy it that much. It's difficult to pinpoint, but I think something that was said in the interview bit at the end of the audiobook was the way that she wrote, or the way she writes, is that she almost sees it as a screenplay and then fills in the in-betweens. And I feel like personally I saw that. I can see how that happened, because I was thinking this would probably make a really great movie, but I'm not sure if it works personally for me in book format. I feel like personally I would have loved to see more on about the relationship between our main character and the girls who seem to have become her best friends. That felt almost a little neglected. There were definitely parts in it that I enjoyed. There were parts of the relationship that was sort of blooming that I enjoyed. Overall, I didn't love this book. Something that I can appreciate is that it was an own voices book, which I think is so important, and I can appreciate it for that a lot. But just plot and writing wise, it wasn't for me. It's gonna be a 2.5 star. I might try rereading this in a year or two and see if I still feel the same about it, because it might also just have been the timing of me reading it. And I am interested to see what a friend of mine is going to say about this, because I'm pretty sure she has the same book as well and she wants to read it. And I sort of feel like she might enjoy this just a tad more than I did. So that's going to be an interesting discussion. Hello, it is November 3rd, so Sunday early afternoon, and I know I said that I wanted to get my Libby loans down, but last night I decided on a mood read. Don't ask me why I was in the mood. To read An Atlas of Tolkien by David Day. It was on my TBR card because it was on my November TBR, but I looked at it and it looked at me and it was like, read me. And so I did. I started it last night in bed, half asleep, which is, I don't have any footage of me actually reading this, because I started it last night in bed and then I finished it today in the morning while I was drinking coffee with my family, and I was just vibing. I had wanted to read these after reading the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Turns out it makes a lot more sense reading these before, because, so first of all, I gave this 4 stars. This was really nicely done. There are a lot of pictures in there. One thing about especially the Lord of the Rings is that there is so much lore behind it, and so many things and people and places that are mentioned that you don't really know about unless you've read some of the other works by Tolkien, like the Silmarillion, I think it's called, and you get confused, or at least I got confused. And An Atlas of Tolkien is quite literally an atlas for both physical, location-wise, but also chronologically speaking, how the world was created and has developed and what has happened, not just during The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, but also before, the creation myth, basically. And that was really nice to have that background. I am thinking of potentially trying to read The Dark Powers, The Heroes, and the Battles of Tolkien before continuing with The Two Towers as well, because I feel like I will understand things a lot better if I have that background. That was honestly a really good mood read. I haven't made progress in the Scarlet Letter yet. I think I will sit down to read some of it later today. But I did start If We Ever Meet Again by Anna Huang, which I just have as an audiobook. And I have gotten almost a third through. It's a very short one. I'm not quite sure what to think about it, honestly. I looked on Goodreads and one of the reviews was talking about things that will happen in this book that I don't like necessarily. So it will be interesting to see if I continue with this when I get to the point where that happens. Okay, so I have officially made it 3 chapters into the Scarlet Letter, and that was only like 20-ish pages or something. But I don't know if it's the audiobook or if it's the actual writing, but that seems easier to read than Frankenstein. But I actually quite enjoy the writing style in this one so far. I mean, like I said, I'm only like 3 chapters in. Okay, little update. I have made it to 37% through If We Ever Meet Again, and I am deciding to soft DNF it because I just think it's not it right now. I think that I could potentially like it at a different time. Like, this feels more of a cute little, like, summer or spring book. I just fell asleep while reading The Scarlet Letter. Funnily enough, I managed to finish a chapter before falling asleep, so that's good. But that is the sign for me to stop reading for today. It is 9:30? Am I an older woman? What is happening? I am now, I'd say 55, maybe percent through. Definitely across the halfway mark. I actually kind of enjoy the writing of this book, which is so helpful because I feel that is one of the bigger problems I have with classics, is that they are written in a type of way that makes it really difficult for me to read it, and this is not. Good morning. So I woke up a little earlier today so I could finish The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne because I couldn't manage it last night. This makes me so sleepy. But I did just finish it, and I am unsure if I should rate the classics or if I should not, because I just don't know. I don't really have any particular feeling about it, which would be about a 3 star, so I might just give it 3 stars. But yeah, I did it. I'm so happy and I'm so proud of myself because I was literally so scared of reading these. So having read one and it being okay is definitely a little bit of a boost, and it might seem less daunting now, which would be amazing. Okay, let's look at what I read in this video. So I first read A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Hawley, which is the second in the Glimmer Falls series, and I gave that 4.75 stars. That was so much fun. Loved that. That was exactly what I needed. And then I read The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew, which I gave 2.5 stars. It just wasn't for me. Honestly, I'm glad I read it, but it just wasn't for me. Then I read An Atlas of Tolkien by David Day, which is technically the second book in the world of Tolkien, but you don't have to read them in order, like, at all. And you don't even have to read all of them. But I gave that 4 stars. That was really nice background information on just Tolkien's world. And then I just finished The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, which I'm probably going to give 3 stars. I'm going to think about that just a little bit. that means that I read 4 books off of my physical TBR, which 3 of those I had the audiobook for on Libby, and for some reason every time I finished a book, about 2 more holds came in. I'm gonna deem this video a success, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked it. If you did, consider giving it a thumbs up and maybe subscribing. I am going to continue these chronicles until my TBR is down. We'll see when that will be, but I have some fun videos planned for that, so do join me on this adventure, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!